Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to... That didn't work. Welcome to Silverline Silver Sunday this October 29, 2023. I am your host. I am Roland Mann, and I am joined, as usual, by my good buddy, Mr. Thomas Flormonte.
Howdy, howdy-ho.
Who is very excited this evening, as you can tell. And
no, I was reading something. I'm reading something.
We are also joined by my former boss and top troublemaker, Mr. Tom Mason.
Hey, everybody! I love Tommy's background. It's
that's what he was actually doing. He was playing with his background, trying to get it all fixed up, right?
No, I already done that.
It's a great nightmare.
I was looking up something.
So I just noticed there's a couple things on our start video I have to fix. The little Silverline little bumper plays And then something else plays. It's supposed to come at the end before we come in, and I guess in putting them together, I got them in the wrong order. And then I also noticed that I gotta fix the date for Daytona Beach Comic Con, because this year Daytona Beach Comic Con, everyone, is actually September the 7th and 8th. So I think it was the 9th and 10th last year, and it still says that on the video. So mark your calendars for 7th and 8th for Daytona Beach Comic Con. And let me see if I can't get this back up here.
That'd be 2024, right?
That would be 2024, yes. So so we have 52 minutes.
Time to come down to it.
That's a great idea.
Can I get tickets?
Good.
We got it. So if Henry's listening to this, Tom, where'd you go?
I'm here.
That was my input for the show. I'm out of here.
That's it.
Oh yeah, your one great idea, right?
My one great idea.
Henry. So if you're listening to this, man, you need to get to work so that we can get a comic out and make that happen. That would be very cool. Tommy, you could make plans that you come down to see Disney World.
I hate Disney World, but I would go.
Well, then I am leaving.
I knew that was happening.
Tell me about the Speedway though.
The I-75.
You're into racing?
No, but I would. So I have this thing where it's not necessarily that I'm into it, but if I was in Daytona and I didn't go, I would feel like I did something, and I want to see it because I have this thing where I'm not really against any sport, but if I have tickets to see something live, I will absolutely do it because I've seen wrestling, which I don't particularly care for, but I love it live, and I saw hockey.
Well, it's great live. It's really fun.
And I've seen NBA game live, and so I just and I've been to horse races. I just whatever I can, because I think
that can add that to your questions for tonight. Is car racing a sport?
Well, I don't care if it's a sport or not. It's all left turns.
I do have a list, you guys.
Here, add that on there.
For Tommy.
Is golf a sport only because it has a miniature version?
Huh?
Would golf be considered a sport because it's the only sport that has a miniature version of itself? So, you don't have football.
That's actually a good question.
I drive down I-4 all the time, so it feels like I'm racing. So I guess it's a sport.
That actually made me think of another question.
Sport.
All right. So,
questions. Did you get the link?
What? No, you sent me a question. Where'd you send them to me?
Just a few minutes ago.
Oh,
that's what he was writing.
I'll pull it up. It's got the tons and tons and tons of silly stuff.
Okay, I got all kind of questions, I'll pull them up. All right, we got a couple comments here. Let's see. Vic says, "I have officially hung around Silverline for more than a year." Dang, Vic, we appreciate you hanging around. As a reminder, Tom, Vic
is that a question?
Vic is the one that knows so much about Malibu that and he's only 16. He just turned 16. When I found this out, I'm like, how do you know so much? He goes, back issues.
That's right.
Ryan Permisson says, "Hey, you guys, Roland, my man, what is up, Ryan? We need to get some more of us on your show, Ryan. Thank you for stopping by." And Vic says, "Switchblade is in color, is completed. Woohoo! Yes, it is." Barb, what's up, Barb? She's already asking questions. You want to jump on with us, Barb? Is a hot dog?
Oh, golly, she started already.
No, a hot dog is not a sandwich. A hot dog is a taco. It's an Alabama taco.
An Alabama taco.
Sandwich.
As you can see from right here, our Kickstarter has 48 minutes. We have 60 backers, 1896, which means we set our first goal, stretch goal at 1850. So we got our stretch goal. So anything else is gravy up to this point. But you guys, if you're still out there, I found some really interesting.
So it'll finish up while we're on the show.
Data, yeah, it'll finish while we're on the show, and I need to try to see if I can't download that again before it's over. I found some Kickstarter's got a beta thing going with some of its data, I was just and I haven't really examined it closely, but I was just looking through that. And some of that stuff's pretty interesting. So I noticed that one of the things I did notice is that we had a bunch of followers who did not also then become backers. So so we had, in which, I always ask at the beginning of our campaigns to follow, because it helps our algorithms. And so this is not, if any of you out there are like, well, I followed, but I didn't back. I'm not trying to make you feel bad at all. I was just surprised that the number was a little higher than I anticipated it to be. So, but anyway, so it was some pretty interesting numbers on there that I thought was fun. So I will see if I can I relegate this to a slightly smaller screen? I guess not. What is this one here? Where did Tommy go?
I don't
Tommy,
know.
Can you still hear me?
All I see is my giant head. There's him.
Yeah, but how come that can't give anything at the top of the screen that way? I mean, that's an interesting screen, but I want the well, all right, anyway, I'll go back to us here.
You need to get a teenage kid to do it for you.
I know, right? All right, let me open Tommy's list here before I go.
If you've got a bunch, you don't need to open it.
Some of these are pretty good. I got a whole bunch.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I didn't make them up. I just found.
No. You didn't make. Some of them I actually have on my list, but it's like this one here. It's like I don't know enough about this. This is which Harry Potter house would you be in? The 2-story one?
The Sith.
That would be my answer.
The House of Sith is my house.
Yeah, but I don't know enough about it to give an answer. So, I mean, I know Harry Potter and all that, but I just don't know that. All right, so you guys have anything before I jump into the questions?
I got nothing. I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for my question.
All right, so I'm going to have to mark them out because I found that as I was brainstorming my questions, they came. So I've got like 5 comic book questions, right? But I don't want to ask all 5 comic book questions right in a row. But, all right, so Neil Adams or John Byrne, and why?
Oh, Byrne, I
That
think.
would be Byrne, too. I don't want to say why, though.
Well, be nice, but why? Why John Byrne?
I'll say why, because I think Byrne has a really strong sense of story, and he can tell it all across through the various superhero projects that he's worked on. He really brings. He's a writer-artist, not just a writer, not just an artist. And I think Adams, for all of his greatness as an artist and for all of his storytelling skills, he sort of is weaker as a storyteller. I think some of his work has where he's the writer-artist is doesn't hold up.
Yeah,
and I love his work as an artist, but I don't love him as a writer. And Byrne, if I find out that Byrne was writing and drawing something and rebooting it or revisiting it or whatever, I would get excited about that. That would be, and I wouldn't.
I bought Man of Steel.
I
bought Man of Steel simply because Byrne was involved.
Yeah, and I know he gets a lot of criticism for stuff, but I loved his take. I loved his take on Superman. Yep. I loved his take on Fantastic Four when he took that over. And I love the. I've loved his stuff ever since he was doing that crazy Charlton stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what was it? I'm an unabashed Byrne fan, even though I know he's probably writing bad things about me on the internet right now as we speak.
As you're talking.
Tommy, did you want to add anything? Do you want to say?
No, I like Byrne's style better. In the other fella Byrne wasn't mean to me at a show, so that's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay, I got you.
All
right. Same for me.
But I like Byrne's art.
Yeah. Better. Yeah. I like Neil Adams' art. So this is not about one is bad, the other's good. It's all about which is your preference. I like Neil Adams' art a lot, but I find some of Neil's work to be stiff. And he's got that, his work is very realistic.
He's never coming on the show because of what y'all were saying.
He's passed, right?
Tommy. He's not even been on the Halloween show.
We might get him on
on
November 1st, All Hallows Eve, right? No, the day after, All Saints Day.
Well, go ahead.
I think one of the things I like about Byrne is that he has it's not cartoonish, but he's got, you don't look at the John Byrne art and say, oh, he traced a photograph. And I'm not accusing Neil Adams of tracing. I'm just saying his work is I find it to be very realistic. You look at it and you're like, wow, that's a super realistic drawing, where I tend to like the stuff that has a little bit of that cartoon flavor in it.
I'm more of a cartoony kind of guy. Yeah.
Right.
I agree with you.
I don't need my comics to necessarily look real.
No.
And so
I could just look outside.
Right. Hey, I got a window. I can
just turn the TV
on. Vic is saying, Tom, you're wrong for that. Well, Vic, he's wrong for what?
Right.
Which thing is he wrong for? I've got to. I'll start a list.
I don't think we have enough time to list all the things I'm wrong about.
Vic also. Go ahead.
Says,
Vic also says Byrne also did the cover for Justice Machine #1, so of course I love Byrne. I didn't remember that.
I didn't remember.
Byrne, Mike Belcher, what's up, Mike? Mike says Byrne, Adams is natural talent, but Byrne is the total package.
There you go.
And then he says, "Hi guys, by the way."
Mike, come on the show.
Yeah, Mike, jump on, man. Tommy, send him a link.
Yeah,
send him a link. No, Tommy, you send him a link.
Oh,
he's like, yeah.
You're Tommy. I'm just. Tommy.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm the wrong person to send links.
Okay, next serious question. All right.
I'm sending links. I can't be answering questions.
Beans or peas?
Oh, beans.
Why?
Peas are poor people's food.
Or peas.
Or what food?
Poor people's food. Beans are rich people's food. I eat like a rich person.
Huh. I guess I'm more of a beans guy. Yeah.
I'm a beans guy.
Why, Tommy?
Because I like them better.
Peas are what you put under the mattress when you want the princess to feel the.
That's right. That's right. You know, for lima beans and
what about black-eyed peas?
Yeah, that's just a fake name for another bean, isn't it?
Yes. Also, it's like,
a black-eyed pea is still a bean.
It's like a bean with an eyeball.
I know. It's just somebody just named it wrong. Some moron named it the wrong thing. Right. It's still a bean.
Because I do love me some black-eyed peas.
It's a powerful pea. It's a powerful pea lobby in America, and they usurped the bean.
I agree. I'm trying to find the link to the
usurp the bean.
And beans are great in some kind of weird sauce, or even like a barbecue sauce or something like that. And peas are just peas.
You're not putting no pea on a burrito. That's silly.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, even vegans draw the line with that.
I think so.
Yeah, I think bean is more versatile than a pea is, right?
Right.
Vic says peas because I'm poor. Yeah, oh, and then he said you're wrong.
They all are. They're both cheap. What is it?
Yeah, that's right.
You're real poor. You can't.
He can only afford half a can.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, I sent Mike a link.
Okay. Hopefully he can join us. All right, so I know this one's going to bring quite a bit of discussion, and I know that Tommy is going to take a hard line stance on this one.
Beans.
Not sure. What
oh
Tommy
no! Is it nerd or geek?
Yeah. Oh no! Great. I'm going to write that one down now too. No,
Tom, I can't stand. I don't like the calling comic book people.
I haven't got there yet. No, the question is Apple or Android.
Windows.
Okay, so hold on. Let me be specific about
Android or iOS is what you meant.
Yeah, okay, Android or iOS, because that's another question as computers.
Sorry.
So Android, these are phones, Androids or iPhone?
Right. Oh, iPhone.
Yeah, it just works. Isn't that what they say? It just works. Well, you know, and I know you're going to get with the other question. It's like, to me, it's the one that they make more stuff for. Well, it's the iPhone, and I think it's a better operating system.
Yeah, and I like that it syncs because all my other stuff is iOS, so it links to my iPad and it links to my computer.
Yeah,
and it links to everything. And I've had two. Again, this is all anecdotal because I'm not a techie, but I've had 2 Android phones in the course of my lifetime, and both of them have been crap. And the first one was cheap and deservedly so, it fell apart. But the second one was more expensive and was supposed to be great, and then 3 months later it died, and I couldn't get any satisfaction. So I went back to iOS. So
I hear the Rolling Stones all of a sudden. Yeah, so
the Android system is pretty cool. I mean,
for me, it's Android. But the reason it's Android for me is because
that's the phone you got for free.
No,
it was a gift.
I didn't want the phone, and so it was.
That's true. That is right.
It was the cheapest one I could get. I'm actually probably going to get an iPhone before the end of the year. Because I'm feeling family pressure, not peer pressure, but family pressure. Because, if you got an Android, you can't FaceTime. And of course, my son, my daughter, and BJ, they all have iPhones. And so, well, we can't FaceTime you, Daddy, blah, 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 blah. And apparently
are green.
And apparently the text messages show up differently as well. Yeah. But now the reason I like the Android better is because anytime I've tried to plug the phone into my computer, the iPhone into my computer, it wants to automatically sync everything, and I can't get into the iPhone and move files around and to put music or pictures. It wants to just down, and I want to be able to grab things. Oh, look at this! Hey, look who showed up! What's up, Mike Belcher?
Let's try this on the laptop tonight. So,
Mike, glad you could jump in.
Yeah, why not? Been meaning to, but you know me, I get caught up in things and I forget.
I know. You need oh shoot, I just stumbled across it. You need a round to it, don't you?
There you go.
You've seen
those, Andy?
Yep. You of course, in the South, everybody, well, I'm gonna do that once we get around to it. Well, here's you one. I've got an extra one you can have.
I appreciate that.
And now he's here. It works.
So Mike, what are you? Android or iOS?
iOS.
There, see, we're brothers.
There you go.
If it's not an Apple product, I don't want it.
There. I even have the pencil.
Very much.
Apple I am.
Now, well, that's I have to say, computers is going to be a separate question. So we'll.
I'm gonna before you get to I'm just gonna say, I use the one that works better.
There.
Well, that's a Mac. That's an Apple product.
Well, no, hold on now. You're talking about phones still, right?
I'm still talking about phones. I hate Android. I hate them with a passion.
Most everything else that I do.
Yeah. You're talking about phones, Tommy, right? Because well, screw it. I'll just go right on to the computer question. Okay, computers, Mac or PC?
Windows.
See, now that's what makes you.
I'm not spending 3 times as much for the same machine. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, but you're buying it every 3 years.
No, I'm not. I've had my laptop for like 7 years now. It doesn't go bad. It's you people just don't know how to use a computer.
You people.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Yeah, it's y'all. It's y'all are the problem. It's not the computer. I've worked on Macs before. They're great. I mean, I have no problem. I'm not going to spend 3 times as much for the same machine. I'm just not going to do it.
I've had a Mac ever since the days of the Mac Plus, and I have not.
Wow.
I have not withered from that.
Yeah, I have no problems with either. Mine is basically, I want the thing that I can run more stuff on. That's one part, and then especially like games and things like that. But I'm just not going to spend 3 times as much for the same.
I still have one of the original Apple laptops.
Jeez!
Wow!
What is that? You could
is that a Duo?
knock somebody out with that.
No, this is the I forget what it is. I have
Will it boot up still?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a Mac. It's a PowerBook 520E.
Wow.
Yeah, still boots up. I can still play. Tetris and Load Runner on it if I so desire.
The thing is, that's the only games they made for it, so that's probably all you can play on it.
But now,
except for Chris Ulm could always find these unusual games for the Mac.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was plugged into the dark web before there was a dark web, and he was always finding some oddball things because he had.
Curious trivia. Tom Mason, do you remember where I got my first Mac?
You stole it off my desk.
No. Malibu sold it to me.
Oh, there we go.
I think you guys were upgrading, and I had sent you something. I still remember I sent you a script printed out from my Commodore PC on a dot matrix printer.
That's right.
And the conversation I think you had with me is, don't you ever send me a script with this printer again.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't long after that. You're like, hey, Roland, we're upgrading. Do you want to buy our old computer?
Yeah.
Roland still has it in his garage. He can't.
I do actually.
He can't get some of the data off of it. He refuses to lose it.
I have that. I have an old Mac in storage that has an old program on it that has a bunch of stuff that I can't get off, and I'm just I'm trying desperately to run into like some person I know who would Hey Tom, do you have an old Mac that I could take some data off of for you? And I would say yes.
Every Windows machine, before I trash them, I would just take the hard drives out because I could just plug that into any other Windows machine and then pull the data right off of it.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it a good computer though.
It makes it the best computer.
I got a couple comments here. Vic says Android's better. Apple's just a status symbol. Mike, want to apologize for dropping from All-Star Tober again.
Oh, there's no reason to apologize. I kind of got behind on myself, so I completely understand. It's not easy doing it daily.
No, it's not. It's not.
No.
Phil Leon says, hey, how goes the Silverline crew? What's up, Mr. Phil? Good to see you here, good sir. And Vic's talking about Tom's computer. That thing's half my age. Get a new computer.
Oh, that's older than Vic.
It's older than Vic, yeah. Hold on. Tom, that thing is.
It probably has the same amount of memory as Vic.
Roland stole it, and that's why they had armed guards when he packed his desk.
Well, that was when it closed out.
Yeah, that was when they fired everybody and they had armed guards at the door. You weren't there that day, were you, Tom?
No, I was gone.
You've heard the stories, though, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I'm going to hear them again when I write my book.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Legitimately had armed guards at the door. All right, so let's keep going here. I got a good geeky comic book question for you. Roy Thomas or Jim Shooter? And I'm specifically, even though I didn't say it, I specifically mean as editor.
Roy.
Why?
Because Roy did. So again, this is my understanding from what I've heard over the
right
years.
Wrongs.
And from what I experienced with the comics, but because Roy didn't seem to have the same sort of like hands-on, top-down management approach that Shooter has. When Roy was editor, he allowed or didn't care that Marvel had a ton of oddball expansion stuff, and so that's when you get Master of Kung Fu. That's when you get all the monster titles. That's when you get all the weird offbeat Marvel stuff comes out or is initiated under Roy.
So, and this is not my comment here is not a detriment on Roy, but my question to you might be, was that really a Roy thing, or do you think that's more because the code changed? Because the code changed at that time and allowed them to use like Satan and Demon and stuff like that. And so that's why those comic books came about.
I think it's a thing where monsters were suddenly hot and they were starting to bring in a bunch of new guys. So they're bringing in Don McGregor, they're bringing in Gerber, they're bringing in all these guys who are sort of out of the box thinkers. And so I think maybe it's all of that, and they're just peppering Roy with their ideas. I want to do this, I want to do that. And Marvel always gets, or in those days, Marvel would always get to a point where in order to dominate, we need to expand.
Yeah.
And they would, so all of a sudden they would just like double or triple the number of titles they were doing. And they'd go from 12 to 24, and all of a sudden it'd be hard to keep up.
Yeah.
And so I think,
which is still kind of a method they use today.
Well, I think it's the only way you really make money in the direct market is by publishing more books.
Yeah.
And so I think, I don't know if it happened because of Roy, but it happened while Roy was there. So I'm going to give him the credit.
All right.
So
Mike, Tommy.
I'm only going to pick Shooter because he's the one that I remember the most.
Yeah.
As a kid, that's. Yeah. But beyond that, I'm not any deeper. Other than that, that's the name when I think of the Marvel editor. That's the one that pops up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But nothing more than just a fond memory. That's
gotcha.
Shooter was almost Roland's boss.
Well, y'all met Shooter at the at Mike's.
Love Shooter, absolutely.
What did y'all think about Mr. Shooter?
Oh, he was fantastic. I loved him.
Yeah. He had a story for everything.
I didn't make it.
He's a good guy to talk to.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
We swapped Mike Barr stories.
Oh, everybody's got a Mike Barr story.
Yeah. One of the things did you guys read his blog?
Yes.
Yeah. Great, fantastic blog. I absolutely love reading his all of his memories, memos about the inner workings of Marvel. Just fantastic. I enjoyed it, and I love his I on his blog. I love the way he talks about storytelling and crafting and creating comic stories. I just think that's invaluable. Yeah. Mike, did you have a answer?
I love both of them. Roy took the reins from Stan in the 70s, and he had his own little mark. But I'm a Shooter guy because when Shooter comes in the 80s, from an editorial point of view, would we have gotten Claremont and Byrne? Would we have gotten Miller with Roy? There's a lot of things that Shooter goes in there, and a lot of the 80s that is history is Shooter, and Shooter, sure, Shooter had the recap pretty much every issue, and some of the times the exposition was a little rough, but I think Shooter's editorial vision for the 80s, like I said, I don't know if we would have got most of our superstars. It had, not saying that Roy wouldn't have given them a chance, but I think that it was a different point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Shooter had that. And that's pretty much where I always look at from as far as if I was to weigh both, Shooter's the guy.
Yeah.
Well, there's also, you can also make I think it's fair to say that under Roy, Marvel also sort of fell apart into disarray.
Yeah.
Towards the end of his tenure.
Yeah.
And you needed a guy like Shooter to basically come in and clean it up. And I know that it made Shooter some enemies because of the way he cleans things. The way the new sheriff cleans up things in towns. Yeah. But he did, from a fan's point of view, it got rid of the dreaded Deadline Doom. It got the books out more or less on time. You got Secret Wars, and you got the Star Wars comic, and you got other stuff that was it became more businesslike, but it also became more reliable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, that was a tough one because, Roy is the chosen one, right? He was chosen by Stan. So I think that in and of itself gives him so many points. But when I think, it's a little bit like Tommy, when I think of, my memories of the comics that I loved so much as a young reader, as a young comic book reader, most of them came under Shooter's purview. right? They came under his reign. And I read a lot of my Roy stuff now as back issues, and I absolutely loved it. But and this could be, maybe if I were 5 years older, it would the default would go to Roy.
Yeah.
But because most of what I remember is from under the Jim reign, Jim gets just that very slight nod, because I love what Roy did, and I discovered later on that I love Roy's Avengers as a writer. I think he did a great job with the Avengers, and I'd always loved Englehart's stuff, and I still do. I say loved it, but I still do. But I go back now and I look at the Roy written Avengers stuff. And man, this is a lot of really good stuff here.
So you bring up an interesting point.
Okay,
is that so the common perception is that Stan anointed Roy.
Yeah,
and Roy became the son, Roy the boy or whatever.
Right, Roy the boy.
But I think it's fascinating to me is that if you read a bunch of Stan stuff from that same period, Stan was always looking to sort of get out. He wanted to write the great American novel. He wanted to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
He wanted to do other stuff. He wanted to be like a big shot guy. And it almost seems like Roy was the guy who walked in the door as Stan was walking out and just said, "Here you go, kid.
Here's the keys.
I'm off the show business now." And so then it's to me, it always feels like he wasn't so much anointed as, where there's a
right place, right time.
They passed the sword. It's just Roy was there and was certainly capable of doing the job at the time Stan really wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's weird how it becomes a legend that it's the great passing of the torch.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some great interviews, conversations on the tube of you. You can find conversations with Roy and Stan that are just fantastic. And you can actually hear Stan calling, Roy the boy, which is kind of funny,
Yeah, it is. He's a 70-year-old man now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Vic doesn't like Jim. He says, Roy, because Shooter can censor himself. Vic says, speaking of monster comics, you remember the Dell Comics horror heroes.
Yeah, Frankenstein, the Wolfman. I think Dracula had like a superhero costume. And they were done by Tony Tallarico.
That I don't remember. The first horror comic I remember was Neil Adams, the Frankenstein werewolf, and was it Dracula?
Legion of Monsters.
Yeah. What's that?
Isn't that the Legion of Monsters?
No, you know what? Oddly enough, it was one of those records.
Okay.
You played it, and then they had voice actors reading through the comic, and had a little ding every time it was time for you to turn the page. Yep. I may still have that somewhere.
I remember I had a Hulk one that was fun.
Yeah, I had a Hulk one too.
When I got rid of all my albums, so I kept the Spider-Man one that I had, and I think I kept that one too. I don't know where they're at though.
Because you need the ding to know when to turn the page.
You need the ding. That's right.
I could use that.
All right. Any other thoughts on Roy and Jim?
No, got nothing.
Okay. All right. This is a good one here. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Trek.
Okay, why? The answer should always be followed with the why.
By why, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing about it. When I was younger, Star right there in the Star Wars zeitgeist, whatever you want to call it, I enjoyed it. But I grew out of it quick, and that was the thing about Trek. I don't think I've yet to grow out of Trek because it's just the human storytelling and just every bit of what Roddenberry was trying to go with. I mean, it's timeless. And again, no fault to Star Wars. I mean, I'm glad people can still enjoy it. And like I said, it's got a special part in my heart. But as far as you get right down to the storytelling. Roddenberry, just those classic series and those movies. I never really got much into the Next Generation.
Yeah.
But Deep Space Nine. Like I said, there's the recurring themes of humanity. is just something that always kind of hit me. And like I said, I can still watch them and not have a bit of, I don't think they age. I think they're just timeless.
I actually enjoyed the first. I don't know. I don't know it enough to tell you exactly which ones, but I enjoyed the first couple of seasons of Next Generation. Those were good. Anybody else? Star Wars, Star Trek. Tom?
Well, for many, because there've been like a dozen iterations of Star Trek over the years, in various forms. So there's been an animated series, there's been comic books, there's been several movies with different casts and several TV shows with completely different casts and reboots and relaunches or whatever. And I like it better. And I think the world is defined enough, but also fluid enough to let all the stuff in. And if you don't, you can come into Star Trek at sort of any point and have your favorite. And so if it's the original series, that's great. If it's not, if you love the movies, like my favorite movie is The Whales.
That's like 4, isn't it?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Or if you like Old Picard, that's another one. Or if you like Lower Decks, that's another. There are all these different entry points into the universe where it's still Star Trek, but you don't feel obligated. You don't feel like you've missed anything. You don't have to go back and do the other stuff. Where Star Wars is always like, oh, look, it's Luke Skywalker again. Oh, look, it's the Death Star again. Oh, look, it's all
right.
It's the same guys.
It's the whole Rebels all over again.
Right. And it's all complicated. But there's Star Wars stuff that I absolutely love. Like I love Star Wars Rebels. I love Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the animated series. Yeah. And I love some of it. I love The Mandalorian.
Oh, that's good.
I don't get wrapped up in it. Like I do Star Trek.
Right.
Star Trek. And it might just be that Star Trek was, the first thing of that nature that I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
And so it's ingrained in me. And that's, if I was the same age, and if I was discovering Star Wars at the same age I discovered Star Trek, maybe my answer would be different.
Yeah.
But I discovered Star Trek in reruns as a little kid, and I was just, well, there's nothing like this on TV.
Right. Yeah.
And it was one of the few shows that I knew I would watch on TV, and my dad hadn't seen it yet. So I'd be like, Dad, you really got to, they have this stuff, pointy ears, there's scribbles, there's stuff,
Yeah.
And my dad would just look at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? So that's, all memories.
Yeah. Tommy, I because I know what your answer is probably going to be, I'm going to go ahead and answer next. For me, it is also Star Trek, and I think Tom, probably for the reasons that you mentioned, because Tommy, because that's Star Trek is the first visual science fiction I remember, and as a kid, I had the Star Trek action figures. They weren't dolls, even though my mom kept calling them dolls, right? But I would take the teleporter. I had the bridge, right? And of course, we lived not in the sticks, but it was rural. So I would climb the fence and go into the pasture next to our home, where they had a great big ditch. And I would set the Enterprise, the bridge up there, and then they had this alien landscape that they were always going around on, and so for me, I think Star Trek gets the nod because it's the first science fiction that just really drew me in.
Right.
Okay, Tommy.
Let's hear Tommy's.
I watched both of them as a kid. I remember watching all the classic tracks with my dad and all the Star Wars stuff. I just like the Star Wars stuff better. Maybe not a whole lot better. I mean, both of them are great. Why can't we just have both?
Wait, well, here's the thing. Here's the ultimate weasel answer. Is when I was a kid, I never dreamed there would be a time when there was so much of this kind of stuff,
right,
that we could argue about having our favorites.
I know,
because when I was growing up, it was one thing at a time. Yep. And if that didn't succeed, it'd be another couple of years before there'd be that other one thing. And so, and now it's like it's so much of an abundance that you can argue about what sucks or doesn't suck, and you can ignore some of it if you don't like it.
Well, I mean, come on, I'm going to get in trouble. They both suck. They both have some stupid stuff that are just really, really bad.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
they had their moments.
The 2 seasons of Picard just were terrible. The third one was great, but
it does destroy the franchise.
Vic's got a great comment here.
You know,
Deep Space Nine comics
now doing with the Star Wars stuff is pretty crappy. But I still love it. I still go see them all. I'll go out to seeing the crappy Star Wars stuff. I'll go see the crappy Star Trek stuff, and you know, I'll beat people up if they put either one of them down. Shut up.
So the great comment here, Vic says Deep Space Nine comics have some great venerable art sometimes. So the hidden message, right, for those of you who don't also watch the Wednesday stream, is that there's a joke between Vic and Rob Davis, who he calls venerable, right? So, and for those of you who might not be familiar with the Malibu published Deep Space Nine comics, Rob Davis did a whole bunch of those. I don't know exactly how many he did.
He was one of the guys when we first got the license. He was one of the guys who called me up and said, "I hear you guys have the license to Star Trek."
Really?
Yeah,
that's funny.
I have some stuff I'd like to show you.
That's pretty cool.
We tried to get him in from day one.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did not realize that. And this was post seminar.
Yeah, him and Leonard Kirk were both Star Trek guys who wanted in as early as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember that. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, definitely good stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Front of the plane or back of the plane?
How tight's my connection?
It depends. You know, it really depends. You want to get off the plane quicker, get on the front. If you want to be so you're closer to the bathroom, get in the back.
Yeah, the thing about the back is if it's a long flight, towards the end of that long flight, that line to the bathroom is going to be right in your way, no matter what you do. And it's going to be a lot of door opening and a lot of weird smells and noises coming out.
Yeah, but you know, you always hate when you're on a plane. You go, well, I got to go to bed, and then you stand up and you see, and you go, okay, well, I'll have to wait, and then you get up and go again, and then I'm gonna have to wait. I'd rather be closer to the bathroom. I'm
a big believer in the middle of the plane.
Middle of the plane.
Y'all see
that's the truth. Being a tall guy that I am, trying to sit on the emergency rows is always my goal.
Yeah. Well, they charge you for that now. They
do.
Make you pay a fee.
Well, unless see it just like leg room. When you're as tall as I am, that leg room, you know, that extra $25 is well spent.
Well, so I have been on the occasional flight. If you can sit close enough to it, and they begin to get, you know, crowded, they need someone in the door, and they'll look at you and go, "Sir, would you like to sit here? Are you willing to open the door?" "I'll do it. I'll be happy to do it." And then you get the bump up for free. I've done that a handful of times.
But if I'm sitting in the exit row and I'm the one responsible for the door, I'm really the last person you want responsible for the door, because I've heard the lecture about what to do like 1,000 times, and I know exactly what I'm going to do. Throw my arms up in the air like a baby, and I'm
you're going to be Kermit the Frog going.
They're going to say, "Sir, you have to open the door," and I'm just going to say, "What door? I can't open the door."
Tom will open the door, and he'll be the first one to jump.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say you would open the door and then jump out.
and then they'll tell me, "Oh, sir, you can't bring your laptop along with you," and I'll say, "Well, the hell I can't."
No. Stop me.
This is my This is like a tattoo. This goes with me wherever I go. So, no, I'm the worst person you want sitting in the exit row.
Renee, on the way back from California, Renee, I don't know if we were in like B something or another section on a Delta. No, it wasn't Delta. It was Southwest. And when we walked in, and I'm like, "Renee, just go to the back. We'll find some place." And then the front row was empty, and I'm like, "Renee, sit down now." So we sat down right on the front row.
Well, have you seen any of those? I've seen those in the last couple of months. I've seen one or two little videos about talking about the front and the back of the plane, and they were like, they had the animation that said, "Well, if the plane crashes, all the people in the front get destroyed, while the people in the back make it, because of the back of the plane, you know, usually ends up skidding or something like that."
Right.
So.
Well, on Lost, didn't the front of the plane get chopped off?
Exactly. They survived.
So
they survived.
I do tend to choose the front of the plane, when I can, just simply because I like to get off faster.
Yeah,
I don't like to
I'm going for the leg room.
Yeah.
Wherever I can get usually when I walk on, and like if it's a Southwest or whatever, and I know the emergency rows are taken up, I'll just ask the flight attendants, I'm like, okay, so this plane, where am I going to sit that's going to be comfortable? And they'll go, try this row and this row, because they kind of know which ones are a little bigger, because they claim it's all equal, but it's not. I can tell you because I've had to sit in so many spots that don't fit.
Here comes Giant Flormonte. Where should he
go? Luckily, because Renee and I actually, this was the first time I wasn't with Roland or Barry Gregory. We were flying, so Renee and I were able to sit next to each other, and so I could stick my knees over into her section. so it was actually pretty comfortable. I was okay this time. So I wasn't.
She's like, get your knees out of my hip.
She's like, and then and when you're sitting down, you're getting in. It's like, find somebody that's already picked a window spot, because once I sit down, I don't want to get back up.
I know.
So find somebody in the window spot. The rest of the plane can be empty, and I'll find that one person sitting next to the window, and I'm going to slap in right next to them. It's like, why are you sitting by me? Because I'm not getting up again.
Except that the minute you sit down, they're going to have to get up and go to the bathroom.
Well, that's.
But at least you can stand up in the aisle and let them.
Well, I can be in the aisle, and I always want an aisle seat, because I can, once the plane starts flying, I can kind of shift my knees to the aisle a little bit. And that always helps. Yeah, being 6'6", you gotta pick your battles there.
Yeah. All right. Next question, Tim.
Next question.
What is your most watched movie and why? So, what movie have you seen more than any other movie, and why is it that movie?
Wow.
I mean, I've seen Star Wars probably 100 or more times.
So the very first Star Wars. So you can't include, because we were just talking about one movie, not the entire franchise.
No, I've watched that movie every time it pops up on TV somewhere. I've watched it, and back when it was in the movie theaters, I may have told the story on the thing. When it first came out, we were down from a theater that it eventually went to like dollar showing, and my brother and I as kids, I'm not talking about it as adult, as kids, I bet I've seen the movie 75, 100 times. So maybe that's why I like it better. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the one. I saw the first Star Wars more times in the theater than any other movie, but that's not the one that I've seen the most.
That's the one that's for me anyway.
There's easily like 3 or 4, because every time they pop up on TV, no matter where they are in the movie, I'm gonna stick it out, and I'm gonna stay with it and watch it. And it's The Dirty Dozen, Where Eagles Dare, that's the Sundance Kid, and it's Jaws, and it's just I love those movies so much that I will stick with it until the end, even if whether there's 5 minutes left in the movie or whether I've missed the first half hour, I'm all in.
The Jaws one surprises me a little bit from you.
Really?
Not the others. Yeah. I mean, I've seen Jaws maybe 1.5 times.
Oh, I've seen it like a dozen times. I will watch that thing eat those people again and again and again.
I'm going to have an add-on once everybody else answers.
Okay.
Y'all will laugh at this add-on. Oh, look, we got 4 minutes left?
Yeah, that's why I put it up there. Mike?
Cool.
Geez, this is really tough. I mean, probably, as far as pure volume, probably Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, interesting! Wow. Okay.
It's just, I love it. I mean, I can catch it in the middle. I can catch it with maybe a quarter to go. I'll watch it, and I've gone the VHS to DVD to Blu-ray, and catch me on the 4K, and I just love it. It's one of those comfort things.
Were you able to see it at the movie theaters when it was?
No, actually, I didn't. It was one of those things I caught on VHS.
Even better. I thought Dennis Dunn was going to be a huge star when I saw that movie.
You would have thought that, and kind of makes you wonder why.
This guy has natural charisma. He can
Oh
hold
my
his own on
gosh.
screen. He's an amazing as like a 2-act character playing off Kurt Russell's John Wayne impression. And I thought, well, this guy should be huge. And then he works all the time, but he never became like a breakout star.
Well, he was the hero. You know, that's what most people, once you get into it and you realize that Jack is the sidekick,
right?
And that's half the fun. And you get into it, and it just like I said, it's just comfort food. They're just from start to finish. It really hits all of the notes. So I guess that keeps me going for the rewatch.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of John Carpenter's best scores.
Easily.
So for me, this probably I have to. It's probably Highlander. The first movie. Right?
There can be only one, Roland.
There can only be one movie. Forget the rest.
That's right.
Yes.
I watched that thing so much after it came out. I probably watched it with Tommy before more than once.
Back in the dorm, I know we've all watched.
Yeah, we watched the heck out of that thing. Yeah. Probably a close second these days. And I don't know. I haven't watched Highlander as much in the last decade. What I have watched in the last decade has been Blazing Saddles, and that's because I've watched that with my kids, and it had been some time since I saw it when I watched it with Brett, and it was so doggone. He was 15, of course. It was so doggone funny that I just started watching it over and over again, and he would watch it with me. So I think because he enjoyed it as well, we watched it together. And so Blazing Saddles might have overtaken Highlander for me.
Well, I think if we're going that route with my kids, we watched like Lego Batman like a dozen times over like a 2-week period, and I'll still watch it anytime I get a chance. Best Batman movie ever.
I'm with you there. Preach it. So here's the question, Tom. Can you sing the song?
No, I cannot. Well, first of all, because I can't sing. Second of all, I can't.
But you know the words as he's singing it, right? Yes, you do. Yes, yeah, me too.
Yeah, once he starts,
it's leg day.
Right.
Who always pays his taxes? Not Batman. Sorry. Yeah, best Batman movie ever. Tommy, what's your add-on?
My add-on would be what TV or what movie rather is on pretty much now. Okay, there's 8 of them, right? So that's on some channel probably right now. It's if you turn it on your cable TV or whatever, it's playing right now. A movie franchise that's out that my wife loves to death, and every time it's on, we're watching it.
The Santa Claus.
No, the Harry Potter movie.
Harry Potter, yeah.
I have probably seen all those Harry Potter movies 70, 80 times, I bet. Whenever they're playing, that's Renee just leaves it on there, and because she loves them so much. I like them too. But
even Harry Potter's greatest snoring camping adventure.
The what?
The greatest camping adventure ever. That was the worst movie ever. Well, I don't even Deathly Hallows or something like that. One of the parts.
Oh,
it's just like Harry Potter's camping adventure.
They're all silly, but they're all right.
You couldn't name your favorite house though before we if you're Slytherin or Gryffindor or
Hufflepuff. That's true. So I guess you guys saw Kickstarter made it. Woo!
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So we ended up with 60 backers in 1896. Thank you to everyone who backed this campaign. You guys, most of you know how it works. Kickstarter will take the next is it a week or 2 weeks? Next 2 weeks, I think, to collect your pledge. So make sure that you got a current, your credit card and all that kind of stuff is current. In about 2 weeks, I will send you out. No, in about a week, I will send you out a survey that you just make sure what name you want on the thank you page. Make sure your address is up to date for those of you who got the physical rewards, that kind of thing. And then around that same time, and then in about 2 weeks' time, we get the money from Kickstarter, And usually when we get the money from Kickstarter, it's about 3 days because we usually get it on like a Friday, and I try to place my order with Kablam on a Monday. And then, unless something untoward happens at Kablam, we should get our books in December in good shape, and you'll have these in time for Christmas.
Hooray!
Yep.
Cool.
So I have one final question. Where's my? Oh, my mouse was. I saw my mouse moving, but that's because it was on my other screen, and I'm like, why is it not doing this? All right, here we go. I got one final question, and this is a geeky comic question.
All right.
In your organizing of your comics, do you organize them numbers low to high, or high or low to high? In other words, as you're going through your comics, do you see them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Or do you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Do the older issues go in the back, or do the older issues go in the front?
Older issues in the front.
Okay.
Yeah. Numerical order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like normal people would do.
Exactly.
I'm not. Yes, but do they go front to back or back to front?
No, mine are front to back. I don't do them the other direction.
It's not a countdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's because if I want the current issue, it's in the back.
Like issue 1 would be the first. Issue 2 is behind it. Issue 3 is behind. Yeah.
Okay. All three of you do that?
We must have harmony. Yes, harmony must be. Yes.
I do mine the other way.
Well, why? Because then once you fill that box up, then you just you go to that box, and then you move to the next box, and then you move to that. You don't go backwards to this box, and then it's like you're living backwards in time. What are you doing?
I don't want to be the guy who cleans out Roland's stuff when he passes away.
I'm not going to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, I do. I put my older issues in the back, and then the numbers come forward because I put my newest, the most.
That hurts my back to
issue.
think about it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm confused. So it's 1, 2, 3. The small numbers up front.
No. The larger number up front.
Well, you're going to run out of room.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's no way to. I hate to break this to you.
Have you ever been to a comic shop? So you're doing it opposite of every comic shop you've ever been into?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I took that from a shop, but I don't remember. I don't remember which one.
I've
never seen it that way.
In comic book shops, the back issues are always arranged like normal people would do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then with the current stuff on sale, the new issue is in the front, and then the previous issues are in descending order.
You read your books backwards too?
You
start at the last page and then read forward as you go?
The way the back issues are done, that's the normal way. Because you're not displaying for sale.
I'm gonna have to. That's gonna be my next thing to find out when I visit the comic shops around here. I'm gonna see how they do their back issues.
We're telling you.
I've always done that, and I don't know. Or as long as
now,
I
what I do,
I've done it.
Something that I do is kind of weird. I always bag and board my books upside down for some reason. It's the way that I'm holding the book, and I have always just grabbed the book and put the head in.
But you don't put them upside down when you put them in the bag.
No.
All right. That would be.
Yeah, but
so
hold on though.
It drives Barry and everybody crazy. I always put them in upside down.
Yeah, because when you're slipping them in, don't you? Because the lip.
Well, because I'm.
Don't you?
I can't do it because my screen keeps messing. If I had a book, see, I'm holding the book at the bottom. I got the bag, and I go. See, my screen is messed up because
I hold it on the top when I slide it in.
And it just slides in. So
I know.
It's the top that I'm putting in the bag.
That's not my question. My question is not how you bag them. I get that, but when you put them in the box, what happens?
Oh no!
Hang on. What happens is your lip is on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So the lip is on the bottom. So when you put the next comic in, aren't you kind of cutting at that lip?
No, because I'm putting it behind the thing and there's room. And so I just go zip, zip, zip.
See, if you would put it in front.
No, if you're doing them in front, of course it would be, because that's wrong to start off with.
So Roland,
you behind the book where there's room, so there's room to just drop it in there. It's not like I have to jam it in there.
So Roland, when you arrange your paperback books, do you put them in order of publication?
Yes. but I arranged them from left to right. Yeah.
So if you had a bunch of trades, like say you had you collected the Walking Dead trades,
yes,
would you put them in backwards? You would go like 15, 14, 13, 12 in your box. If you put them in a box, you wouldn't.
If I put them in a box, yes,
you would still run.
I would put number 1 in the back, number 15 in the front.
What about
a shelf? How would you do it on the shelf?
Well, on a shelf, it's left to right, right?
Right.
So on the shelf, 1 goes on the front, and
yeah.
So that part's normal.
Yeah. So basically, you take those off the shelf, and then you just turn them sideways and put them in the box properly.
Exactly, and then they're going to be. No, you take them off of the shelf.
You take your left hand
and you put them into a box.
Your left hand
numbered low in the back.
No, your left hand would be where issue 1 is. Your right hand would be 15, and your left hand would come towards you, and you would place them like that.
Then they're all backwards.
No, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. No, if I have look right here. Here's books.
Yeah.
Here's books.
Yeah.
Right? If I take this is for the sake of argument, this is volume 1, 2, 3, right?
Yes, yeah.
If I take these books off just like this, right?
Yeah, and then you turn that issue 1 towards you.
This is volume 1. This is volume 2. This is volume 3.
Then turn issue 1. No, you just
put them in a box
all the way around backwards.
Yeah.
No, the box is looking at me.
Now that's backwards.
Yeah, that's 3, 2, 1.
I'm looking at the covers. If I put them in the other way,
no, the covers are now facing the wrong direction.
I gotta say, this is my favorite conversation of all. I live for these moments.
Roland, when I helped you move a couple of months ago, if I had known all your books were backwards, I would have spent an extra hour or 2 flipping them around.
Wow. There you go. Yeah,
you would have been my hero.
Yes, I would have opened the box to look up something. I'm like, I can't find anything because these books are backwards.
I would travel from village to village and sing the praises of Floramonte
with the ukulele.
It's a,
oh my
goodness.
All right, you guys got anything else? That was fun.
I got nothing. I'm glad Mike could join us, though.
Me too, Mike.
We became Facebook friends like 2 weeks ago, and I've been enjoying his art.
Oh,
thank you.
Excellent.
Appreciate that. It's good being here.
Is a super talented fella. Okay, so this Tuesday, don't forget, everyone, we've got other streams this Tuesday night, that Silverline show on Tuesday. These guys are going to be doing a vampire recap. If you tuned in last Tuesday, you know that we played. I joined them for a role-playing game session of Vampire the Masquerade. This week they're going to recap how RPGs teach you to tell stories. That is Tuesday for that Silverline show on Tuesday. That's 8 p.m. West Coast time, so that would be 11 p.m. East Coast time. On Wednesday, the Wednesday Whammers are going to be talking about media adaptations gone awry, the worst of live action translations. And that is Wednesday night, November the 1st. Next week, what's
Battlefield Earth?
Battlefield Earth. Oh, yeah, the first 75% of that book was good. I read the book, all 1,000 pages of it.
Cool.
The first 750 were pretty good, but then in the book you got to, it was like, okay, that was the end of the book. What are they doing now? And there was another 250 anyway. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel here. Tommy is going to lead us as we talk about conspiracies.
Yeah.
And he's got to give us some homework. We've got a set of rules and regulations that we've got to follow so that we don't break into our own conspiracies.
Mike, you're welcome to join.
Yeah, Mike, you should join us.
I will try.
You're from Kentucky. You got all kind of conspiracies.
Oh, there's some good ones. There's some good ones around here.
Surely the Hatfields and McCoys got some conspiracies surrounding them.
Oh my, yes.
By the way, for those of you who don't know, me and Tommy and Jose, who else went up there with us?
You three.
There's three of us. Yeah. So we went up to Pikeville, which is where Mike's from, that area. And we learned, I learned this a couple years ago, but Pikeville is the home of the Hatfields and McCoys, which everybody's heard of. So yeah, I did not know that either until the first time I was up there, and it was like, oh, cool.
It is the home of it, yes.
They're still fighting, aren't
they? Give them a chance, they will. Yeah, I mean, there's actually an active, the group's still active, the families are still there, but they may not be feuding, but they certainly have a fun time recounting it.
Do they have Hatfield and McCoy reenactments?
No, nothing like that. But as far as the museums, they've got little things you can go in, and there's plenty of stories. So
they sell merch.
Yeah, pretty much sell merch.
The McCoys were right. I bought a T-shirt. The McCoys were right.
Yep.
You can't wear that to Hatfield County, though.
No, you can't. All right. Well, you guys know what to do. Until next time, remember to
make mine
Silverline. All right. Good night, everyone.
My name is Ross Ritchie from Boom Studios, and make mine Silverline.